Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the annual general meeting for Hydrocephalus Canada. My name is Jillian Akai. I have the honor and privilege of being chair of our board. We're really pleased to have everybody join, especially to our members and volunteers for all of their great work throughout the year, but happy that we can have some time with you today, certainly to attend to our annual requirements, but also to share some exciting developments about what's going on at the organization in terms of strategy and work in the coming year, as well as talking a little bit about some important conference information and great speakers that we have for later in the event. So thank you again, everybody, for joining. I'd like to start by taking a moment to acknowledge our land acknowledgement before the meeting starts. We would like to take a moment to acknowledge that every place in Canada, from east to west and north to south, has an Indigenous history. So we begin this meeting by acknowledging that no matter where you are logging in from in Canada, we are meeting on Indigenous, First Nation, and Métis lands. And as settlers, we are grateful for the opportunity to meet. We thank all the generous generations of Indigenous people who have taken care of this land and still care for it today. We encourage everyone to recognize the contributions and importance of Indigenous peoples, acknowledge the harm caused to these communities and people, and be committed to improving relationships in the spirit of reconciliation and appreciation. Before we begin, I'd just like to take a moment to go over briefly some of the Zoom housekeeping items. I think by this point in sort of what we're hoping to be emerging from the pandemic, we probably know how Zoom works. Nevertheless, during the AGM portion of today's itinerary, we'll be using the Zoom's polling function to record votes for each motion. Also, you should have received an email prior to today's meeting with the agenda and links to download the condensed financial statements and 2021 meeting minutes, which will be voted on. If you would like to move or second a motion, please make a comment using the chat feature. When you see a motion approval poll come up, please click the bubble beside the statement you agree with. So I think we can formally start the meeting. I'd like to begin by introducing our board members in attendance and asking them to say hi in the chat. So you know me, Jillian, Claudio Sinapri, Christine Dorward, first chair, Stephen Rex, second vice chair, Justin Parapalli, secretary, Paul Egley, treasurer, who you'll be hearing more from later, Dr. Abhaya Kulkarni, a member at large, Dr. Mark Hamilton, member at large, both on our medical advisory board, Laura Gattensby, Joshua Matthewman, Nikki Stone, Heather Cheeseman, Dr. Scott Barton, all members at large, and Eric Smith, unable to attend today, also member at large. You may remember Eric from emceeing some of our previous events. Just like to thank all of our board members. Welcome and thanks for attending today, but also thanks for the amazing work throughout the year. We have a really dedicated and engaged set of board members. We're so fortunate to have them to continue our work. So thanks to the board members. In addition, I wanted to mention our medical advisory board, and this is our list of fantastic medical advisory board members, all so impressive, and we're very grateful for their contributions. Obviously, their incredible medical expertise and guidance, so thank you to them. Lastly, but not least, I'd like to mention our staff. So thanks to all of them for joining, but also, as you know, we have an incredible staff who are so dedicated and engaged and working for our constituents and our communities every day. Incredibly capable. We're so grateful for them. Shauna Baudouin, Steve Keane, Tharani Rajan, and Will Pieta. The latter two, this I think is their first AGM, so welcome to both of you. So I think that's it for introductions, and we can move on to approval of the agenda. I would like to ask if there are any additions or deletions to the agenda. And I'll just look in the chat to see if I see anything pop up. I'm assuming no, so we'll move on from there. May I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented? Okay, I cannot see if there is a motion, Shauna, but
I cannot either. Ashley or Ariel, can you see if there's any motions?
Yeah, we're just going to pop up the poll for everybody to vote. Just once you're, I don't see anyone in the chat making a motion, however, who's got voting membership.
okay, we'll do I think we can do one oral motion. So Justin makes that motion. May I have a second?
It appears that our chat is showing as disabled. Can we get that fixed?
Yep.
Okay, in the meantime, we can probably keep moving, Shauna, because I imagine Justin can orally make motions and Paul perhaps.
Laura made the motion.
Great, thank you. Okay, so we have a first, we have a second, all in favor? And opposed if any, and I guess we need.
Poll coming up shortly. There we go.
Perfect. Thank you. So all in favor, opposed, or abstaining, please record your response. And Ariel and Ashley, you'll let me know when that's approved.
Yeah, I think we'll just give folks a few more seconds and then we'll
Perfect.
close it and you'll see a screen pop up.
Great, thank you. It will be great, everybody, when one day we can be back together, maybe next year. Certainly, I think there's an efficiency in doing this online because we get to see or get access to so many more people across Canada, but also nice to see people in person and do votes. Okay, so we have a approval in favor of the agenda. Thanks, everybody. Okay, so that motion is carried. So moving on, we will go to presentation of the audited financial statements. Paul Egley is our treasurer, and I would ask him to present a copy of our condensed summary of the audited financial statements for the year ended February 28th, 2022. It was emailed to you as part of the AGM package if you'd like to refer to them as Paul presents. Paul, over to you.
Thanks, Jillian, and good morning, everyone. For the second consecutive year in a COVID-challenged environment, the Hydrocephalus Canada has had positive financial results. As Jillian mentioned, I believe everyone's received a copy of our statements for you to review. The purpose of my talk today is just to review some of the high-level points about the financial statements, and then I'll give you a little bit of insight about how things are looking for 2022. As I speak, the presentation will appear on your screen, and you can follow that along with me. If anyone wants to look at the financial statements in all of their detail, you can go to our website, Hydrocephalus Canada, /who we are /annual reports, and you can see all of the complete document. So the first thing about financial statements that's important is to get a report from the independent auditors. Again, this year we received a positive endorsement from the auditors, and basically their opinion is that the financial statements, which are prepared by staff at Hydrocephalus Canada, represent fairly the financial position and the performance of the association for the fiscal period that we're talking about. And that is from March the 1st, 2021, so it's last year, to February 28th, 2022. An interesting point, in the past, I've mentioned to you that many charities receive a qualified auditor's opinion because it's hard for the auditors to go and verify certain kinds of contributions that a charity can receive. For instance, if someone raises money for us outside of the Greater Toronto area, let's say in Barrie or in Windsor, it's hard for the auditors to go and see if all of that was done according to auditing standards. So, but this year, I guess the auditors felt comfortable with us, and they've worked with us for a few years and probably recognize that those kind of revenues form a small part of our overall revenue base. So they removed the qualification. So we have an unqualified auditor's opinion. And for those of you in the deal with financial statements, you know that that's an important thing for an organization to have. let's look at our financial position. We had about $100,000 increase in net assets for the Hydrocephalus Canada. So if you look at February 28th, 2021, and you move a year ahead to February 28th, 2022, there would be a $100,000 increase. We're up to about 623,000, which for a charity of our size is probably a good place to be. Because of this increase in assets, we're able to set aside additional funds in our savings or reserve account. So at some time in the future, if there's a challenge or an issue that we have to face, or maybe a special purpose that the association feels is important, we will have some money that we can deal with that. The next thing I'll talk to you about is our financial performance. So the reason that we're able to make this contribution is that our revenues exceeded our expenses for the last fiscal period by $98,000. There are a number of factors that caused this. One, that we had a very generous bequest from a gentleman's will just near the beginning of the last fiscal year. Also, in 2021, we were still battling COVID, and the federal government did provide subsidies to the country and as well to us to help pay for our wages and for our rent. And lastly, we did have continuing strength in our revenue sources. I think most of you know that we receive revenue from many different areas. One of them is bingo events. One of them are the break open tickets. You see them probably in the variety store. And both of those types of revenue were strong even during the COVID period, especially as the COVID became less of an issue. You could see a rise in the attendance at the bingo events. So I'll just touch on very briefly how things are looking for the current year. Up to July 31st, we have a small surplus. So the revenues over expenses of about $1,400. It would have been a larger number this time last year. And I think that's reflective of we're more in a balance now that expenditures and revenues are a little more equal. So if I had to guess, I'd say that most likely at the end of this year, we won't see quite as large a surplus as we have in prior years. But I think those of you who deal with charities know that there's a fair amount of uncertainty about revenues. We apply for grants from foundations all across Canada, and how they're going to react to a request from Hydrocephalus Canada, we really won't know probably until the end of this year. So a foundation may say, okay, we'll give Hydrocephalus Canada some money this year, but we didn't give them money last year, or the opposite. So again, there's a fair amount of uncertainty. The last thing I'd like to say is that we are benefiting from the high interest rate environment. I think all of you have seen all the comments in the paper about how the Bank of Canada is fighting inflation with higher interest rates. And since we do have some money in reserves, this has been a benefit to us. So that pretty well concludes the presentation. Was there any questions or comments? So if you wanted to say anything, it would have to be in the chat or the question and answers. And always like to entertain any questions or thoughts. And if for some reason you can't get through here, then you're certainly free to contact me offline later. But Shauna, do you think we have any questions?
Sorry, Paul, I can't see the chat. Ashley, do we have any questions?
No, I think if folks have anything, we'll use the question and answer function.
Okay.
The chat, for some reason, is not cooperating today.
All right, everyone.
Okay, well, as I mentioned, I'm more than happy to receive a phone call or an email if anyone has any thoughts or opinions on our financial operations. So
we're not seeing any questions in the Q&A, Paul, so I think you're okay to move forward.
Okay. So the next part is some motions that I'd like to place before you for your consideration. The first motion, the financial statements have formally been approved by the Board of Directors, but we want to place them in front of you, the members, as a matter of record and also for your information. So the first motion, I will read it out to you, that the audited financial statements for the year ended February 28th, 2022 be accepted into the minutes of this meeting. Could there be a seconder out there for that?
Laura has seconded the motion.
Okay.
And now we'll have a poll.
Okay, excellent. So the poll should pop up. Okay, I guess we're. Oh, okay, it looks great. It looks like that one was approved. Excellent. The second motion I'd like to place for your consideration is the appointment of the auditor. I'll just preface this by saying that the auditor's company's name is Cholk and Stepchuk. And we've worked with them I personally have worked with them for a number of years. I know the organization has worked with them for a longer period. We've always had a good relationship. I think they're very confident, they're very careful, and I think a continued relationship with them would be good for our organization. So the motion I placed before you that the firm of Cholk and Stepchuk be appointed as auditors for Hydrocephalus Canada for the year 2022-2023.
Okay,
Is there a seconder?
Mel Katz has second.
Okay. So then I guess we'll do the poll to on this. Oh, good. Okay, it looks like that one is approved as well. Great. Okay, well, thank you, everyone, and I'll return the meeting back to you, Jillian.
Thanks so much, Paul. Okay, so I believe that we actually skipped over the approval of minutes. I don't think we need to change the deck, but I'll just attend to that. So I believe the minutes were circulated. I just asked if there are any omissions or errors to the minutes of the October 2nd, 2021 annual general meeting. And I'll give a minute in case people want to make a comment. I'm going to assume there's none. So with that, I would ask for a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Laura's approved.
Great. So we have a motion, and can I have a second? Okay, I think Justin seconded, and so we can move to a poll. I'll just wait for the results of that. Wonderful, thank you. So we have that motion passed. Thank you. Okay, so moving on, we have our election of directors. As chair of the Board Development Committee, I'd like to announce that the following directors have completed their 2-year terms as of September 22, and they are applying to serve another 2-year term on the board, which will end in September 2024. So those folks who are putting their names forward again and have been nominated: Justin Parapali, Eric Smith, myself, Dr. Abhaya Kulkarni, Laura Gattensby, Joshua Matthewman, and Dr. Scott Barton. The following directors are in the middle of 2-year terms, which will end in September 2023, so they do not have to be up for a re-election at this meeting: Claudio Sinapri, Paul Egley, Dr. Mark Hamilton, Stephen Rex, and Christine Dorward. So with that, I'd like to ask for a motion to approve the slate of individuals you'll see on the left there for approval. May I have a motion in favor and a seconder?
Can anyone put the motion forward?
Okay, I have a motion from Justin, and can I have a second?
Stephen Rex.
Great, thank you, Stephen. Okay, so I think we can put the poll up now. So we'll look for all in favor, opposed, and abstentions. And that motion is carried. Thank you very much, everybody. So I'll just move to the end of the meeting. Any further business that we should attend to? Happy to take anything from the questions and answers. Otherwise, we'll move on to the conference portion of the day. We'll cover strategic plan, have some fabulous speakers, and also do our awards presentations. Okay, so I believe that this concludes our official 2022 Hydrocephalus Canada AGM. Can I have a motion and a seconder to adjourn the meeting? I have a motion from Justin. I don't know if I have a sec. Oh, I have a second, right? Okay, thank you, Laura. All in favor, and we can do our poll now. Great. Thank you, everybody. We have that motion carried. Okay, so before we start the conference portion of the day, I'm really excited that we will be able to share a very high-level overview of our 3-year strategic plan. After that, I will hand it over to Paul to do the exciting portion of the awards presentation, which we're excited about every year. So as some of you know, we've recently engaged in a strategic review at Hydrocephalus Canada, and we involve stakeholders, and we're going to have a presenter speak about the work we've done and where we've landed in terms of that strategic plan. Obviously, that kind of strategic review is great governance and really important for the rejuvenation and continued focus of the organization. And my view is, and I'm going to introduce the speaker in a minute, but my view is it was an incredible experience. We had a good opportunity to reflect on what we want to do and who we want to be as an organization. And we really solidified our values and key objectives. I think so many of the participants know who we are and what we're about. And so we were able to sort of crystallize that, along with setting some really ambitious objectives for the coming year about how to expand our support of our important hydrocephalus and spina bifida communities. So really excited to share the results of that work with you. Being our 3-year strategic plan. The person who's going to be presenting that overview is Stephanie Ince. Stephanie has been working with us for a period of time. She is a not-for-profit executive certified coach and fundraiser with 20 years of professional experience in a variety of charitable and not-for-profit organizations. We've been really lucky to have her because she's been an excellent guide for us through this process. And such an engaged participant. We're grateful for her expertise. Her experience spans healthcare, education, financial services, and international development. Stephanie has extensive experience in fundraising, corporate development, and executive leadership for the charitable and nonprofit sector in a variety of organizations. She's received a BA in Media, Information, and Technoculture from the University of Western Ontario and a certificate in writing from Humber College. She has been actively working and volunteering in the charitable and not-for-profit sector throughout her career. Her consulting company, March Management, was established in January 2019 as she recognized a need for strategic leadership and occasional fundraising and marketing support for not-for-profit organizations. Their model provides organizations with the ability to manage operational and administrative services and deliver fundraising and communications programs while providing staff and volunteers with the leadership they need to continue to support their organizational mission. Thanks, Stephanie, for all of your support through the year. And I will hand it over to you to do the presentation of our 3-year strategic plan.
Perfect. Thanks, Jillian. Can you guys all hear me okay? Thumbs up?
Yes, you're good.
Okay, perfect. So thank you so much for the warm welcome, Jillian. It's been a real pleasure working with Hydrocephalus Canada over the last few years and really enjoyed this strategic planning process. So what I'd love to do today is just spend a little bit of time sort of walking you through the process, our outcomes to date, and where we are moving forward. So next slide, please. So as Jillian mentioned, we wanted to really do a deep dive prior to developing this plan for moving forward. So, recognizing that Hydrocephalus Canada needed a long-term strategic vision to really focus the organization over the next few years, we started working together, and really that began with some surveys and in-depth conversations with some key stakeholders. So those of you on the call today may recall a stakeholder survey that was sent out earlier this year. Questions spanned, conversations around the programming and services that was most useful and valued, and really sort of provided us with a great sense of, what Hydrocephalus Canada was able to deliver and where the real value was. Then we also created a survey to really get the same type of feedback from the board of directors, the staff at Hydrocephalus Canada, the medical and scientific advising community, as well as volunteers. And that was conducted in April 2022. And with all of that information together, we saw some really clear themes. Jillian alluded to the fact that I think we really saw that Hydrocephalus Canada has a real clear value proposition. And I'd love to share some key cornerstones that we identified through that process. In the next slide, please. So we've outlined this strategic plan, and I'm really going to focus at a very high level today on 4 key cornerstones that really came up in that deep dive that we did as part of our background information. And those cornerstones are support and community building, awareness, education, and advocacy, research, and organizational effectiveness and capacity building. And what I'd like to do today is just give you a very high level of, where we're going to be really strategically focusing in within each of those 4 cornerstones over the next 3 years. So next slide, please. Within the support and community building cornerstone, the key strategy is to ensure that HC is a central point of contact for both the hydrocephalus and spina bifida community at critical points of their journey. This includes looking for information and support regarding their diagnosis and ongoing care. So, some key points here is that we recognize that Hydrocephalus Canada is an organization that supports both the hydrocephalus and spina bifida community, and also recognition that at different points of the community's journey, there will be different needs for support. So in recognition of that mission, our aim is to continue to deliver key programs for young adults, parents, youth, and caregivers within the community nationally. So recognizing that that includes resources, support, and education, as well as exploring new ways to be able to support the community, including such things as the development of a caregiver support network. Another key point that I wanted to recognize, is that we hope to expand our reach to connect constituents from all across the country. So recognizing that there are wonderful organizations doing wonderful work across the across the country, but that Hydrocephalus Canada sees a real opportunity to be able to bridge some of the gaps in communities where support doesn't exist, or where support could be stronger and more consistent. So, this is obviously a really exciting initiative. I think it provides a great baseline of support nationally, and it also provides a great opportunity for us to work with other wonderful organizations who are already doing important work. So I just wanted to flag this as an opportunity because obviously there's some stakeholders on the line today who may have some great ideas or may be interested in getting involved in this particular initiative. So your support in making connections would be very much appreciated. As much as we can work together to be able to create a foundation of support and community across the country, it's obviously an initiative that is going to have a huge impact on the communities which we serve. Next slide, please. So the second cornerstone I just wanted to focus on is awareness, education, and advocacy. So we really saw this as two key opportunities. One is to increase awareness of the conditions, so both hydrocephalus and spina bifida, to all stakeholders. And the second is making sure that those people who are impacted by the conditions are aware of Hydrocephalus Canada as an organization that is committed to supporting both communities nationally. So the initiatives that will be created and supported in advance of this mission will include building and improving awareness of both Hydrocephalus Canada, including, being able to market the programs and services that we offer, as well as our mission to support these within these conditions within the community. We're really looking at testing out new channels and tactics, so taking advantage of some online opportunities, including Google Grants, and really making sure that anybody who's looking for support becomes aware of Hydrocephalus Canada as an ally for them. The second piece within this cornerstone is to build and improve awareness of the signs and symptoms of each of the conditions at various stages. So this includes both to the healthcare provider community as well as to the general public. And that will include some really strategic work, just focusing on what are the critical points of the journey within each of the condition sort of journey. So both within hydrocephalus and spina bifida, where are the critical points where communities are seeking support, and how can we ensure that Hydrocephalus Canada is there to meet the needs of those who we serve. Next slide, please. So research is something that we've continued to support, and we recognize that research plays a really critical role in, in identifying new discoveries, new treatment opportunities, new ways of understanding the conditions. And so really our aim here is to support both existing hydrocephalus and spina bifida research that focuses on enhanced treatments and improved quality of life, and also seeking out new opportunities for research. So in some instances, that could be partnership opportunities. We work with an organization that is really a community of neurological health charities called Neurological Health Charities Canada, and working with them to understand upcoming research opportunities will be an important piece of this as well. So really making sure that if there are opportunities and ways for us to be able to engage the medical community with new research, that we'll be able to do that in a way that is most effective. Next slide, please. And I also just wanted to mention the fourth and final cornerstone of our 3-year strategic plan, which is organizational effectiveness and capacity building. Obviously, we have ambitious plans. We recognize that we're in really a critical point of our journey. And so in order to do that well, we really need to invest in both people, tools, and processes that will allow us to achieve our goals. So this includes the diversification of fund development activities. It also includes ensuring that the staff and volunteer, as well as the board of directors, is in a position to best support these initiatives. So behind that includes identifying key metrics for measuring success. So really understanding what it is that we're aiming to do and ensuring that we have key markers to ensure that we're on the right path. And then the second piece is obviously all of these exciting initiatives and creating and continuing to build support for the community is going to take resources. So really looking to enhance our fundraising activities and critically, I think important to identify new channels of revenue as well as new organizations and partnerships that could help to support us in this next step. So again, reaching out to those of you to ask for your ideas and support as we begin this exciting journey towards building out this 3-year plan. So that's, I know this is a relatively high level, but we wanted to share with you the work that we've been doing, and obviously stay tuned, because as we continue to work together to develop some of the more specific tactics, we'll certainly be keeping you abreast of those activities as well. So thanks, everybody. Any questions?
Not seeing
Thanks,
anything-
Stephanie.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I don't see any questions. Go ahead, Jillian.
Thanks very much, Shauna. I think I will hand it over to Paul now to move on to the awards presentation. Thanks, Paul.
Great. Thanks. Thanks once again, Jillian. This part of the meeting is where we recognize our volunteers and also make our awards for academic scholarships. So just to begin with, I'll very briefly say that we'd like to acknowledge the generosity of all of our supporters, and that includes foundations, which I mentioned earlier on in the financial section, corporate partners, individual donors. Their vision and commitment to our organization are instrumental in helping Hydrocephalus Canada deliver vital programs, services, and direct support to everyone who's affected by hydrocephalus and spina bifida in Canada. So really appreciate that sector. Without their support, we wouldn't be able to do anything that we do. So I want to move on now to the scholarships. Hydrocephalus Canada offers a number of two programs to assist students with their academic pursuits. The first one is named after Dr. E. Bruce Hendricks. This scholarship program was named in honor of Dr. Hendricks as a tribute to his dedication, ongoing support, and outstanding service to our members. The program was established to encourage and support students with spina bifida and hydrocephalus to develop independence and be responsible for their future educational goals, and to assist students to pursue their higher educational goals. So I think all of you know how expensive education is now, and this is a very worthwhile program for our organization. The Bruce Hendricks Scholarship Program is divided into 4 subgroups. And so I'll go through each subgroup and I'll announce who the winning individual was. The very first one is called the Dr. Robin P. Humphreys Award. That was awarded to Alexis Needs. Alexis is from Sault Ste. Marie. She plans to attend Algoma University in Sault Ste. Marie for a Bachelor of Science in Honors Biology. After graduating, she plans to attend medical school, and her goal is to become a neurosurgeon. So you can see this is like the absolute, perfect candidate for our organization to support someone who has career aspirations in that area. She also has a number of outside activities and hobbies of volunteering, exploring the outdoors, participating in social activism. So I'd like to once again express that we're very happy that we're able to help Alexis with her education. The second individual is Emma St. Auban. She's from Thorold, Ontario. She was awarded the Rodney G. Walsh Award. Emma will be attending Brock University, that's in St. Catharines, for her Bachelor of Child Health. She hopes to get a master's degree in child life and pediatric psychosocial care, and to reach her career goal of becoming a child life specialist. Emma enjoys gardening, baking, volunteering, spending time outdoors, and an accomplished soccer player. I believe Emma is online and joining us here today. Emma, did you want to say a few words to everybody?
She's just coming on, Paul. Give her a sec.
Hi, everyone. I just would like to thank send a big thank you to Hydrocephalus Canada and the Dr. Hendricks Scholarship Selection Committee for honoring me with this scholarship. The funds will go to great use for my studies at Brock University. Hydrocephalus Canada has been an amazing support for me and my family throughout my life, and has made a positive impact in so many ways. I'm excited and looking forward to raising awareness for hydrocephalus and spina bifida as a youth ambassador. And like many of you, I've faced a number of challenges along the way. However, despite how difficult it is at times, we always come out stronger and more resilient, and it's helped shape us into the amazing people we are today. So thank you, everyone.
Great. Well, thanks very much, Emma. I really appreciate that you're able to join us here today, and we wish you well with your future academic endeavors. The third person I'd like to recognize is Nora Fitzpatrick O'Connell from Toronto. She was awarded the Michael Bailey Founders Award. Nora will be attending Concordia University in Montreal to study English and history. She's considering a sign language interpretation as her career. Her outside hobbies include dancing, playing the violin, crafting, writing, and swimming. Nora has done research into the hydrocephalus condition. And I think also Nora is joining us here on our virtual meeting. And Nora, would you like to say a few words?
Yeah, hi. Thank you so much for having me here at this meeting. I don't know if you can hear me. Is that right?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Yeah, I just wanted to, same as Emma, thank Hydrocephalus Canada and all the supporters and donors. And it's so amazing that they provided these opportunities. I learned about Hydrocephalus Canada pretty recently, only during the pandemic. And before then, I hadn't really known that much about my condition or talked about it a lot. So it's been really exciting to have this opportunity to be able to have obviously the opportunity to get the scholarship, but also through it, just meeting so many amazing friends and people and gaining, so much information about my condition, which is really going to help me, entering adult care and being an advocate for myself. Yeah, I'm in Montreal right now. I'm just in my dorm right now, actually. And it's just been such an amazing experience already, loving the city. And I'm so happy for this opportunity. Thank you so much.
Well, great, Nora. Thanks very much for for speaking to us, and it's a pleasure to meet you. I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm still, the jury's out with me on whether or not I think Zoom is the best or even entirely effective. But here you see a situation where Zoom is terrific. Like, we're able to give scholarship awards to people in different parts of the country, and they're able to come on and talk to us. So Zoom really works in this kind of situation. The last individual is Sugali Abdiram Gara. He is from Ottawa. He was awarded the Barton Family Award. Sugali is fluent in French and will be attending the College Boreal in Sudbury, studying fitness and health promotion. Sugali aspires to become a coach or physical trainer for basketball. Interests include cooking, baking, basketball, podcasts, traveling, and movies. Unfortunately, Sugali is not with us, but I think on behalf of everyone here, we are happy to be able to support his education, and we wish him the best with his academic endeavors. There is another program that Hydrocephalus Canada provides financial support, the Luciana Spring Mascarney Bursary, but unfortunately we didn't receive any applicants this year, so there wasn't any award this year. I'd like to talk a little bit now about how important our supporters, our fundraisers, our volunteers, and their outstanding contributions to the success of our organization. Our hydrocephalus and spina bifida community volunteers contribute tremendously to the mission of our organization. Some volunteers by being the first contact in the community. So someone who is suffering from hydrocephalus or spina bifida, they have to first get in touch with us, and they need a human face. And some people are that human face. Organizing support groups. Again, anyone who's any kind of difficult medical condition knows how important support groups are. Social grants, other kinds of work. The bingo, as I mentioned before, is a important part of our portfolio. Organizing third-party spirits, walks, and runs. These activities engage those living with the condition, increase awareness of the condition, generate community support, and raise much-needed funds for our programs. So I think just to sum up here, we really, again, express appreciation to everyone, all the volunteers, everyone who's worked so hard to support our organization. I also wanted to put a little bit of a plug in. Next year, 2023, is going to be the 50th anniversary of this organization. Shauna Baudouin is heading up a committee to try and develop some way to mark this event. Probably, I'm sure more news is going to be coming out in the future, but this will be a big subject for our organization for next year. If anyone who is attending this meeting would like to get involved in that endeavor, feel free to reach out and contact Shauna. I think she is looking for people to help sit on her planning committee. Shauna's email for this purpose is info@hydrocephalus.ca. And again, I think she'd be very happy to hear from you.
Yes, I would.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than having a committee of one person. That's got to be the worst committee in the world. Okay, well, thanks again, everyone, for participating in the first part of the meeting.